steal from their own people and they send all that money to Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis. There is instructions in the Quran that tells Muslims, you have to kill those that speak against Muhammad or Islam. That's written in the Quran. These savages, they just attack us, they behead people, they kill people, they rape all the women, they destroy all the buildings, set everything on fire, LGBTQ, saying there's 100 different genders. And no one has the courage to criticize these things. Muhammad was the first one that actually committed genocide on the Jews. He killed the Jewish community of Khyber, slept with Sophia, the wife of Kenana, the same night he killed her husband.
Younes, if you guys don't know, is a content creator. He knew who I was before I came here. Now I know of him, and I've seen some of his stuff on YouTube. He's great, and you're going to see as we go a little bit more about his story. So I want to start with that. Please share with us a little bit more where you're from, what got you to start, everything, the whole story.
So I'm Iranian. I was born in Iran. I came from a relatively good family in Iran. Then I had to move here when I was 13 years old because of some issues that we had, which I'm not really going to get into, but it was like mostly political issues. And I came to this country when I was 13 years old. I couldn't speak English when I came. I came from a Muslim background in Iran. So I had like a Shia education of Islam. So I understand Islam perfectly. And when I came to this country, I realized that, this country, they're Christians, and in Iran we were Muslims. So I was like, they can't be both right at the same time. So I started like studying Islam like extensively and studying Christianity extensively. And when I was about 15, I became an atheist for like 10 years. And then after that, I became very spiritual. So I believe in God, but I'm not religious. So
What was that turning point? Why did you become an atheist?
I just realized that, in my opinion, majority of religions are man-made. Like, I think all prophets had a very strong spirit and they were very wise. But back then, people, they didn't have a lot of science. So they used to, if Elon Musk went back 2,000 years, people would call him a prophet, or Donald Trump, or people of that ilk. So I think all religion has something to say. All religion is correct to some extent. It's old wisdom. And that's why I don't agree with the atheists, because atheists say, it's all nonsense, it's all made up. But I think you should understand religion metaphorically. There's a lot of metaphoric truths in Judaism, in Christianity, even in Islam, even though I criticize Islam extensively. After that, I went to university. I studied politics and international relations. I've done a bunch of different jobs all throughout my early 20s. So I used to work in finance and marketing and events. And I also do like acting and modeling on the side. And about 2 years ago, I decided that, I don't really like acting because I don't really like to pretend to be someone else. I like to be myself in front of the camera. So I decided to make political videos because I thought that I have the educational background, also the lived experience, and also the media background. So I was like, what's like the common denominator of all these three? And I was like, why don't I start making political videos and doing podcasts and things of this nature?
When you wanted to get into political videos,
Yeah.
What specifically, first of all, triggered that? Did you have a lot of criticism towards the government back home? Or I want to know that specific turning point for you that you decided, I need to start making videos that will most likely put my life at risk, because it's not that simple to criticize Iran. I mean, Iran, I'm talking about the IRGC, of course.
Yeah, so first of all, I thought that our society was being overtaken by the woke mind virus and by the Islamists. And I thought that there's not enough people in our society questioning these ideas, and everyone's sort of just tagging along. Everyone's just jumping on the bandwagon again. And I saw it on my university campus. I saw it online. I saw it how people, hiding behind the veil of empathy and kindness and saying, all ideas are equal, everyone's accepted. And I'm like, dude, no, you should be able to criticize bad ideas. And Islam, some parts of it is a bad idea. So is like wokeism and LGBTQ, saying there's 100 different genders. And no one has the courage, to criticize these things. So I thought, I thought there's a lot of nonsense online. I saw a lot of people just talking nonsense, not knowing what they're talking about, having an opinion, people that were born here, that don't have the educational background, not the lived experience either, and they're just speaking about something they just don't know what they're talking about. And I thought maybe I can have a powerful voice in this field.
When you started criticizing the Iranian regime. Did you have family in Iran? Do you still have family?
Luckily, no, because the majority of my family, I mean, my mom's side of the family, they're in the UK, and my dad's side of the family are in Turkey. So I don't have any close family members, although I have distant family members, which are cousins and, second cousins and second aunties and stuff like that. So not close, but yeah, I do have family.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of Iran, of Islam, and I really want to know, because I have not been, and I do want to go. I do want to visit Iran. It's one of my biggest dreams. I do think that the Iranian people are incredible. I talk to a lot of them. What is your favorite thing about Iran? And if you had the opportunity to raise your children in Iran, would you do so?
No, not at
You would not do so?
Not at this moment in time. No.
Even if you'd experience a revolution now?
No, I would. If there was, look, I think Iran is absolutely beautiful. It's the oldest country in the world, statistically. And, we have great weather, great culture, great food.
Amazing food.
Yeah, and, we have everything. We have mountains that you can ski on. We have beaches. We have islands. We have 4 seasons.
You have islands?
Yeah, we have islands like both in the North Sea and in the South Sea.
Wow.
So in the south, we have Kish, we have Qeshm. We have so many, like dozens. And, I think Iran could have been Dubai times 1,000. Iran's got huge potential. In terms of economics, we are the second highest oil producer in the world. We are the second highest gas producer in the world. And I think we're third in precious metals. So under normal circumstances, Iran could have been in the top 5 powers in the world.
What do you mean when you say precious metals? Like gold, silver?
Gold, lithium. Stuff like they use for iPhones, lithium, gold, bronze.
You're one of the biggest exporters in the world?
Third highest, biggest, I think, supply of precious metals, because we've got a lot of mountains and there's a lot of cave in these mountains. So if they manage to dig, and they have, but apparently they found recently, I don't know if it was lithium or something else, but apparently they found a new cave with like trillions worth of like precious metals, not billions, trillions in Iran.
Could it be that the people of Iran are also disappointed at their government?
Yeah.
Is because they are seeing that the government itself is not using the funds that they have and the money that they're making from oil and other resources, that they're not using it on the people, for the people? Is that
exactly? And so imagine we're one of the richest countries in the world, and at the moment people in Iran are running out of water. Like the government can't even provide the most basic necessities to their own civilians. So how incompetent are you? Like, it's a mixture of incompetence and the fact that they are thieves. They steal from their own people and they send all that money to Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis. They've spent hundreds of billions over the last 46 years to the Islamic Brotherhood. And it's funny that, they failed. So they wasted all that money they sent, they could have invested it in Iran. They could have built roads and bridges and buildings. And look, Iran is still beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Like Tehran is very nice, but it's like living in a beautiful house that has an abusive father in it. It's exactly like that. So that's the point that I'm going to make. So Iran is still beautiful. I think it could have been so much more, because I know in 1975 Tehran was the most visited city in the world after Paris. So your grandparents probably have been to Tehran at some point, or the British people that are watching, or the Americans. Like Tehran was a very popular spot. It was like what Dubai is now.
What made it so popular?
It was very clean. Had a great nightlife, great people, great culture, great food.
Alcohol was allowed back then.
Everything was allowed back then.
The previous religion of the people in Iran was Zoroastrian, right?
Thousands of years ago. Yes.
Thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
What happened? What shifted that religion?
So we had the Arabs, or Muhammad, attacking Persia.
You were one of the first nations that they attacked.
I think we were like not the first, but yeah. So they conquered Saudi Arabia first, and they kind of moved up towards Iraq. Iraq was kind of part of Persia there, Mesopotamia. But I think it was mostly that conquered Persia. But it took 300 years for them to conquer Persia, by the way. It wasn't like an overnight thing. It took them 300 years.
Because the people of Iran fought?
They fought, but these Arabs were like, look, Iran, Persia was a very open culture. It was a very, Cyrus the Great was the one that gave Jewish people the first ever human rights in history. The Bill of Human Rights was signed and written by Cyrus the Great back then. And it meant that Persians and the Jewish people could live together in peace. And Arabs were unfortunately savages back then. So they attacked Iran. And imagine you're a prospering civilization, prospering country. You give women value, you give children value, you have libraries, you have museums even back then, you have like art. And these savages, they just attack us, they behead people, they kill people, they rape all the women, they destroy all the buildings, set everything on fire, and basically gave Iranians the ultimatum of, you're either going to convert to Islam or we're going to kill you, or you have to pay the jizya. And for those of you that don't know what the jizya is, it's like an additional tax for not being Muslim. So I think Islam destroyed Persia. Like to my Persian friends, when they say, oh, we and the Arabs are so close, historically, no. Like the Arabs were our enemies. Like I don't mind Arabs now. Obviously, I have a lot of Arab friends, and I love the work like Mohammed bin Salman is doing in Saudi Arabia, and what they're doing in Dubai is absolutely amazing. But can you imagine, like 50 years ago, Dubai was a desert, literally a desert, yeah? And go and look at pictures of Iran in 50 years ago, right? And imagine in those 50 years, look at what Dubai's done and look at what Iran's done. Iran's gone backwards.
Stand still or backwards, yeah.
Yeah, Iran's, they've gone forward. So imagine if we just kept on the same trajectory where we could have been by now. I'm telling you, we could have easily been in the top 5. Not a single person would move to the UK from Iran. And that is a fact, because back then, my grandparents, they used to live in Tehran, and they used to say, people used to make fun of the UK. People used to think, oh, the people in UK are poor. Like the only place in the world they would go is like America. Like America was good enough for them back then, or like maybe France back then. But they thought very low of the British people back then. So can you imagine? And now, like, we had 10 million Iranians leaving the country, going and immigrating all over the world. So that just tells you everything you need to know.
Why are you so critical of Islam? I'm assuming it's not towards the religious aspect, it's more towards the political aspect of it. Why are you so critical of it? And I want to know, like, give me your top reason, because I do want my viewers to understand.
Okay, look, I'm not critical of Islam per se. I'm critical of any bad idea. So, you know, when I started making videos, I started maybe talking about LGBTQ and the fact that we have 100 different genders. I spoke about the woke mind virus. I spoke about toxic feminism. I spoke about many different issues, environmental hoax. And I think the 10th video I made was about Islam. And the reason why I made a video about Islam is because people do not have the balls or the courage to speak about Islam. Why? Because in Islam, there is instructions in the Quran that tells Muslims, you have to kill those that speak against Muhammad or Islam. That's written in the Quran. And you have a responsibility to Islamize the whole world. And because of some of the experiences I had personally, like what happened in my country, in the Islamic Republic, what I saw, how a civilized nation went so downhill so quickly. And also what I saw in this country, like when I went to school, I told this story. I went to school with 2 terrorists that used to go to my classroom. And I was in Westminster City School in Victoria, one of the best schools in London. And I was going to class, and I was thinking, like, these people are more extremist than I am, and I'm in the UK, right? And I saw the rise of Islamism, and I saw how these kids were brainwashing other kids about Islam and trying to get them to convert. And I saw that no one has the knowledge, the lived experience, or the balls to criticize it. And I thought, look, I'm going to do it. And look, at first I got a lot of backlash. I got a lot of death threats. Even my own family members back then, they were trying to stop me. They're like, Younes, don't do this. Don't put your life in danger. Like, what are you doing this for? And I just felt so deeply passionate about it because, you know, I'm quite a disagreeable person. When someone tells me not to do something, you better be sure that I'm going to do it, you know? So I just thought, look, it's something that needs to be said. And, you know, I'm raising my head above the parapet, I know, you know, but if we want to make our culture, make our society better, we need to challenge bad ideas, you know, and it's very important. You know, they say, I think I would put a quote, it's something, I think it was Plato that said it. It was like, the consequence good men pay for not taking part in politics is to be ruled by evil men. So when you speak, you know, our responsibility is not just for ourselves, but for the future generations, is to fight for the truth, is to not allow pathological ideas or pathological people to take charge of society and to lie to the general public. Something like happened that in my country. And it's happening all over the world. And we in the West, at least, should push back on this. And another reason, as I said earlier, is that I saw what is happening in university campuses, what's happening to young people, what's happening on social media, that people are being brainwashed rapidly. And these young kids are starting to believe it, and there's not a pushback to it because people either are not scared to do it or maybe they don't have the expertise. So they just sort of go along with it. So I thought I need to do it.
Do you think Islam has a possibility to reform? Do you think it has some sort of way to adapt to modern society, to the Western society?
Sure. I mean, it's kind of happening right now in Saudi Arabia. It's kind of happening.
Is it though? Or is it happening for just to appear good so they can conduct more business?
Maybe it's a bit of both, to be honest. Maybe there is a financial sentiment to it as well. But I think Mohammed bin Salman is a very smart leader. I also think Mohammed Al Maktoum of UAE is very smart. They are making reforms, but they are kind of doing it gradually and incrementally, you know. And but at the end of the day, look, Dubai is one of the most lucrative, luxurious, best in terms of experience. You want to travel out there, the best clubs, the best women, even like all the hot girls have left London to go to Dubai and all over the world. Let's be real. And also, like, in terms of the properties that they have, everything is just, and that is a sign when the best people start leaving your country and going to another country, that country is doing better than you. And you know, 15,000 millionaires have left the United Kingdom since Labour took over because of the high tax rates and the fact that, you know, UK is on the way down. And
in Dubai, you don't pay any taxes.
Yeah, you don't pay taxes, zero taxes, but you go there. But also that, you know, it's apparently safer. It's, you know, it's just better. It's just more alive. I think London is dying. I don't think London is what it used to be. I think London used to be the best city in the world like 10 years ago. Now it's not. It's still good, but there are other places that are better, like where you come from, Miami. I think Miami is probably better. Dubai is probably better. But, and you know, I think one of the reasons UK is collapsing is because of the stuff I was talking about. The rise of Islamism, the rise of illegal immigration, the rise of, you know, people not assimilating to this country, the rise of wokeism. All these things is pushing people away and is bringing down the overall quality of the culture and this society.
I have two questions. First question, if you're saying that, yes, we're seeing currently with Saudi Arabia, we're seeing with the UAE, that there is some sort of reformation happening to fit with the West. Yeah. However, if you asked any of them right now, does that mean you don't want Sharia law to spread across the world and be an integral part of the world? They're not going to tell you no. Of course they want Sharia law to spread and they want Islam to be the wing over the entire world. So is it actually reforming? Because we all know what's going to happen if, according to the sources that I've been reading, if Islam rules the kuffars or the disbelievers and they dominate and they control, we're going to be subjugated, and that's not something that I intend to adopt or anybody that's not a Muslim.
Well, it depends who you ask. I think if you ask Mohammed bin Salman, he'll probably say no, actually. And I think the proof is in the pudding, because you have to look at the reforms they made in Saudi Arabia. They're still not perfect. I'm not saying these countries are perfect and moved. I'm not saying that at all, even about Dubai, okay? However, you have to look at the reforms that Mohammed bin Salman made since 2018. In 2018, women couldn't drive in Saudi Arabia.
And now they can.
And now they can. Not just drive, they can have concerts. Women can wear whatever they want. Like back in the day, they had to ask permission from their husbands about how they can dress to go outside. Now they can dress however they want. He reduced the voice of azan. Do you know what the azan is?
No.
The call to prayer for 5 times a day. Muslims, they have a call to prayer 5 times a day. You know, when they said...
Of course, he reduced it?
They reduced the sound. They reduced the sound.
The volume
to a third of what it used to be. So they don't want it to be as sort of dominant in society. They're starting to allow alcohol. They're starting to allow strip clubs. Yeah, strip clubs. Alcohol is already legal in Dubai, but there are some parts in Saudi that you can still drink. There's also strip clubs now and clubs and all these things. And he's liberating the young people. Like the young people, if you ask majority of the Saudis, they love Mohammed bin Salman. And I think Mohammed bin Salman, He's a smart guy. Why? Because he knows that majority of his public are still very Islamic. So he knows he cannot become westernized like this. Because if he becomes westernized like this, he will destabilize the society. It will be too much for his population to take in. So he's giving these freedoms incrementally, like year by year by year. But the young population love him. Also, let's not forget that Mohammed bin Salman got a lot of death threats.
Of course.
When he done these things. He got a lot of death threats from his own people and also from the old guard, saying, oh, you cannot do this. This is Saudi Arabia. You know what he done? He invited them all to a hotel for a meeting. And then apparently he locked the doors on them. And then he put them, was like, look, you will sign away all your wealth and give it to me. And you have no position in this government anymore, or I'm going to kill you. Like, it's such a gangster move by Mohammed bin Salman. And I think as a leader, you need that kind of strength. He fought against them and he won. And now you look at what they're doing. They're building a city called The Line, which is like a futuristic city. You know, they've invested $1 trillion in America.
Also, the Hexagon, they have a new project.
Exactly, Hexagon. And they're going to be hosting the World Cup 2036, I think, or 2034. I think it's 2036, yeah. And, you know, you see what they're doing. And they've got, like, they're at the forefront of AI. And, you know, look at what they're doing. Like, in a 7-year period since Mohammed bin Salman took over to now, look at what they've achieved. So I think these Saudi leaders, on the surface, they kind of have to respect Islam. And but deep down, the ones at the top, the ones that really know, they know that they cannot bring their countries to the 21st century if they are governed by Sharia law. So they might not come out and say it directly like I'm saying it, but all the actions they're taking is suggesting otherwise.
Well, we just have, it's enough for one leader after Mohammed bin Salman, I'm assuming his son, to not align with his views and take Saudi Arabia back.
But then why wouldn't his son align with his views?
Because his son was educated on Islam a different way, and he believes that this should be done and not this. Because I talk to a lot of Muslims from Saudi Arabia. A lot of them, when I say Mohammed bin Salman, they don't like that name. They don't like when I mention it. They don't like when I mention Mohammed bin Salman with Israel. They hate it. So it's enough for one leader. And
okay. So look, this is exactly because look, during the Shah, we had a leader like the Shah, which is actually a lot more classier than Mohammed bin Salman, the way he dressed and the way he's like wore nice suits. I was very well educated. He was educated in France, but they had the same problem with him.
The Shah of Iran was educated in France.
In Switzerland.
In Switzerland.
And they had the same problem with him, but you know, and that's why the revolution happened. So they were doing very well for 50 years, and then the revolution happened, and were doing very bad for 50 years, almost. So I just think it could happen. There is a possibility of such a thing happening. However, I think it's unlikely because the world is changing. The world is changing. I think in general, religious dogma and religious sort of authoritarianism is on the decline. And I think secularism is on the up. Because, you know, people might be stupid, some of them, but people are not that stupid. At the end of the day, you don't really want to live on the Sharia law. Like, which sane person wants to live on the Sharia law?
Muslims.
It's the brainwashed ones. But I think the reforms that Mohammed bin Salman is making, he will change that culture slowly but surely over time.
Do you think the shift starts with Saudi Arabia and is going to grow out of it?
Yeah, I think the shift started kind of with Dubai, UAE, and it kind of like fed itself to Saudi, and now it's kind of feeding itself to Qatar, and now might feed itself to Kuwait and Oman and Lebanon, and slowly and hopefully, once the Islamic Republic falls, then we can have the Cyrus Accords being signed. So I think the first step is the Abraham Accords between the Arab states and Israel, and then the second step is for the Islamic Republic of Iran to fall, and then we can have the Cyrus Accords, something that I'm actually working on.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that, or you can't?
I mean, I might be in Israel for the last 2 weeks of October, and I'm going there for this thing called the Cyrus Accords. So they want Iranian kind of pro-Israel political analysts to give their ideas of what they want to do, shoot content, meet maybe some senior members in the Israeli government. So
you think we could see peace between Israel and Iran
100%.
in the near 20, 30 years?
Not 20, 30 years. Sooner. For sure sooner. Because Iran and Israel were very good during the Shah time.
Right.
They were very close, and I think Iran is the second Muslim country that recognized Israel.
Listen, it's the first time I'm hearing this. It got me excited for a second.
Yes, so no, but like, look, Persians and the Jews and Israelis, they go way back. They go back 2,500 years, and they were always allies. And actually, Iran was always an ally of Israel, even though the Arabs were always against Israel. Persians were the ones that were always like kind of back, and that changed with the Islamic Republic. So I think, and all the instability we have in the Middle East is because of the Islamic Republic. Like, if you look at 1979, like between 1946 and 1979, that was during Shah's time, there's relative peace and stability in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. There's some like tiny wars here and there, but nothing major. As soon as the Islamic Republic of Iran takes over, there's war after war of the instability, of the terrorist attacks, because they kind of fund all these terrorist things. And that's why they call themselves the Islamic Republic of Iran. Islamic Republic is more important than Iran. Islamic Republic means all the Muslims, or the Muslim Brotherhood. So, yeah, but it's also quite ironic that they're Shia and they're supporting Sunnis. They have a very bloody history.
I mean, at the end of the day, when they have a common enemy, and that common enemy is Israel. But that's leading me up to the next question. Ooh. What in the world does the IRGC have to do with Israel? Why are they so angry at this state, at this country, and why do they want to destroy it?
Well, historically speaking, it goes back because Muhammad was the first one that actually committed genocide on the Jews. Yeah. And he killed the Jewish community of Khyber.
Yes.
And he basically slept with Sophia, the wife of Kenana, the same night he killed her husband. And I think there's some verses in the Quran that says, if you find a Jew behind the stone, you need to point them out and kill them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's in the charter of Hamas.
Yeah. So exactly. So I think there's an Islamic root to it, A. But then B, I think after the Islamic Republic took charge, there was this anti-West, anti-America, anti-Israel sentiments. And what they wanted to do was to alienate people away from Israel and America. And they see Israel as the forefront of democracy in the world, or the forefront of what is a threat to them. Mm-hmm. So they just want to destroy it based on that. So there's religious and political reasons. And a mixture of those things.
They look at Israel as a weak country because it's a democracy. When they want to rule with totalitarianism, that's the reason?
Not just that. As I said, there's a religious reason, but also a political reason. And also this brainwashing of the Zionist state. They believe all kinds of nonsense that Zionists are like Nazis and they like to kill people and they're oppressing the Palestinians, even though Palestine is in itself a colonial entity. It was called the British Mandate for Palestine. So you guys say you're Palestinians and you hate colonial Israel, but then your name is a colonial entity.
100%.
So how does that even make sense? So yeah, that's why I'm pro-Israel, because I understand history. Israel, and it's not even about the Jews. Like, even if you just think about it rationally, Israel has a legitimate reason to exist because the people there, they have historical roots to that land, A. And B, there should be one state for the Israelis. Why? Because Israelis were always, or Jewish people were always persecuted. Every country they went to, they were like a guest in that country. So they had a, what's the word? It's not Stockholm syndrome. There's another, imposter syndrome. So they always had imposter syndrome every country they went to. And that's why they were persecuted, because they were a guest and they didn't have their own country. So they always got kicked out. They always got murdered. They always got blood libeled until what happened in the Holocaust. And they were like, okay, you know what? Should we just return people to their ancestral homeland, which is Israel? And also, let's not forget that even though Muhammad committed genocide on the Jews, and even though the Romans committed genocide on the Jews, 30% of the population in Israel was still Jewish, even after all of that. And barely anyone lived there. It was like a barren land.
Correct.
So, and then they just moved there because there was nothing there. The Jewish people moved there. They start building the land, they start building businesses, they start building buildings, and then the Arabs start to migrate because there was like a lot of opportunity for them to go and work. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, now this is our land, give it back to us. They're like, no, dude, we built this. And there was a war with Jordan and Egypt against Israel. You know about this war.
Of course.
So this idea that Palestine, if Israel lost that war, half of Israel would have been Jordan, the other half would have been Egypt. There would have been no Palestine. But people are too dumb to understand this.
They had talks between the Arab leaders before the war started that if the war would have been won, a portion would have been carved and given to Egypt. Yeah. Another portion would have been given to Jordan, another portion to Lebanon, and another portion to Syria. Palestine would have never been established.
Exactly.
But even if you ignore all of this, and after I say this, I do want to go back to Islam for a second. Even after all of this, we have the claims to the land based on all three reasons. And there's three reasons. First of all, it's connection to the land and not stopping to live there. We've lived in Israel for thousands of years, never left. That's the first claim. It's not the same for the Arabs who claim to be Palestinians. A lot of them came from Egypt. A lot of them came from Arabia. A lot of them came from the Ottoman Empire. So Jews have that claim. You don't want to go based on that claim? Fine. UN Resolution 1947. Still, everything was legal. We got that land fair and square. That's the second thing. Third, started a war. You lost. Deal with it. Conquest is another way of obtaining land. And this wasn't conquest, but we won wars, and that's exactly why we have that land. But again, I want to go back to Islam for a second. Can you explain to us the difference between Shia and Sunni?
Yes. So I'll just give you a quick overview, and I haven't said this in any other podcast, so it'll be exclusive for you. This is my opinion on how actually Islam came about, right? Because Muhammad was he had a little army, and he used to just go and attack different villages and just kill everyone. Then he met this very wealthy woman called Khadija. And Khadija was 15 years older than him. So he was 25 and she was 40. So she was like kind of his sugar mommy. She was very rich and she spoke 5 languages. Muhammad couldn't read or write, right? So I think, because I don't believe in miracles, I don't think like you can go in a cave and then come out with a book, like a perfectly written book, if you can't read or write, right? So I think what happened was Khadija saw the potential in him and said, look, instead of like killing people and salvaging these villages, because Saudi Arabia back then was very isolated. Why is it isolated? Because the weather was rubbish and it was desert. There was no water. So that's why the Arabs were way behind, because like the civilization in Persia and near Israel, people would like to go to those locations because it was nice by the beach, mountainous, but no one really wanted to go to Saudi Arabia because the conditions weren't great. So they got left behind by thousands of years. That's why they were like such savages, because they were like in the desert. They didn't really know anything. So they were like very cavemen kind of thing.
Divided into tribes, marrying only within the tribes.
Exactly. So Khadija was a very intelligent woman. She spoke 5 languages. She was very wealthy. So I think what she done, she was the one that translated the Torah and the Bible to some extent. And I think Muhammad basically told her, okay, add this, add that. And then that's what became the Quran. So this idea that Muhammad wrote the Quran is nonsense. Okay, he didn't write the Quran. How can you read or how can you write a book if you can't read or write? And if you actually read the Quran, you will realize that a lot of it, especially in the beginning parts, it's almost like a copy of the Torah in a way. Like there's a lot of mentions of Musa. Who's Musa? Moses. So I think that's what happened, right? Then Muhammad took his book and then he kind of convinced his people that he's the prophet of God. And then he said, okay, guys, now spread this around the world. And, there was instructions like the whole world needs to become Muslim. So they, again, started attacking everywhere. Muhammad took part in 29 wars, all of them offensive. Like not a single one of them defensive. So when people say, Islam is a religion of peace, like, yeah, your prophet literally started 29 wars. He beheaded people, he killed people, he raped. He done all these things. He married a 60-year-old. But regardless of that, I think Muhammad was the first one that kind of spread Islam all throughout Saudi and down south, Yemen and Oman and Dubai, what is now. So all of that area. Then he had a son-in-law, which was married to one of his daughters called Ali. And then Ali took his word and started conquering Persia. But that's where the divide happens. The Sunnis believe that Muhammad is the only prophet. The Shiites believe that, no, Muhammad was the prophet, but then after him came Ali.
And Ali was the second prophet.
Not the second prophet, but he was like an imam.
Imam.
So it's like a level below, but still you're someone that you have to follow. It's someone who's like a true leader. And then after Ali came Hassan and Hussein and Reza. And the 12 Imam prophecy is that Mahdi is the absent Imam and he will come back soon. The same way the Christians believe that Jesus will come back soon, the Shiites believe that Mahdi is going to come back soon. But another thing that I find very, very funny and ironic and hypocritical is that, Muhammad says in in the Quran that on the day of judgment, Jesus will come back. Now, if you're the last prophet and you claim to be the last prophet and you claim to be there's no other religion after you, then why is Jesus the one coming back? You should be the one coming back. So because he was such a charlatan, he knew he was not a prophet. So he's like, okay, by the way, just in case there is like a day of judgment, Jesus guy is going to come back, not me. So don't expect me there. So, you know what I mean? So you can just tell, like, and I'm so surprised. And this is the reason why I question Islam. I don't have anything against Muslims. Okay, I have family members that are Muslims. But majority of the Muslims don't actually believe in the real Islam. They believe they pick and choose, like, yeah, they pray 5 times a day and maybe they fast, but they don't actually know what it says in the Quran. They don't actually follow the instructions in the Quran. Because, and also look at their prophet. As I said, look at what Muhammad done. So if you, and I really encourage people, if you don't believe me, go and read the Quran in your own language so you understand perfectly what it says.
But then they'll tell you, no, it's not Arabic, it's not the authentic language.
Yeah,
you don't...
No, but that's nonsense. Just read it in your own language first, and maybe you can learn Arabic and then read it if you really want. Read it in your own language. Go and read about the life of Muhammad, what he done, and also go and read the hadiths. And honestly, if you're a Muslim after that, there's something wrong with you. There's honestly something wrong with you. Because I don't think any sane person can believe that. Majority of the people that say they're Muslims, yeah, they're lovely people, but they were born in a Muslim family.
Correct.
And they just like kind of, jump on the bandwagon and just kind of go along with it, and they don't really want to stir the waters. And again, as I said, like they're kind of scared maybe because, if you're an apostate in Islam, your punishment is death. So they just kind of, and look, majority of the people like me and you, they don't really care. They just want to go like to make some money and, go on holiday. They don't really care. They just kind of like go with what the majority are saying. They just jump on the bandwagon. They don't really, try to stand out because they don't want to be attacked. But I think deep down, actually, majority of the people know the truth. They might not come out and say it, or maybe they're ignorant about the truth. But I think common sense will prevail, okay? At the end of the day, Islam is one of the 3 Abrahamic religions, and it's here to stay. But it needs to be reformed. And it's getting reformed now with the leaders like Mohammed bin Salman, the same way Christianity and Judaism. And I'm not saying Christianity and Judaism didn't commit atrocities. They did. Especially Christianity during the Dark Ages. But they went through their own age of Renaissance and their own age of Enlightenment. Something that hasn't happened with Islam yet.
Listen.
Yeah.
If you could give the Muslims around the world,
yeah,
especially in Iran, the possibility to leave Islam today without the repercussion of death, do you think many people would leave?
There was a new survey out in Iran that said 66% of Iranians don't consider themselves Muslim anymore. 66%. So only a third are
66% of the people in Iran, which is
Yes.
how many? 80 million you have? How many people?
85, 90. Let's say about 55, 60 million of Iranians do not consider themselves.
That is insane.
Yeah, I actually have like second aunties and second cousins that used to wear the hijab. Not cousins, but second aunties because they were older. They used to wear the hijab. Now they've taken their hijab off. They're like, they were not Muslim anymore. And they've also been to Mecca. They've been to Mecca.
They did Hajj.
They done Hajj, yeah. So if people that are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s kind of leaving it, look, imagine what's happening with the younger population. I can say hand on heart, 80, 90% of the younger population under 35 are probably not Muslim in Iran.
Can you explain to us more about jihad? What is jihad, and why do people say that jihad is a struggle against threats coming to you if you just said that most of the wars committed by the Muslim army were offensive?
They try to whitewash it. Jihad, look, jihad is a call to be confrontational, which to some extent I agree with. Look, in life, have you read this book by Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules for Life?
I haven't read it.
Rule number 1 is to stand up straight with your shoulders back. And that is like a call to action on, to have a forthright kind of conversation and not be scared, and, to reflect that in your posture and to be confrontational and to not be scared. And I think Islam to some extent does teach that to people, which is a good thing. As I said, no religion is 100% wrong. No religion is 100%.
I mean, especially if your religion is based on previous religions. Of course, it's not 100%. It's relying on other religions.
Yeah, but also no religion is 100% wrong, but no religion is 100% right. That's what I think. Okay. So, and Muhammad is a descendant of Ismail, and Ismail and Isaac were brothers. Isaac is the one that, led to Judaism, and Ismail is the one that led to Islam. And what was the difference between Isaac and Ismail? Ismail was very kind of like bravado, kind of very tough guy, like a proper lad. Whereas Isaac was more like analytical and a bit more quiet.
Right.
And that is like the difference between Jews and Muslims, no? If you think about it. So historically speaking, again, metaphorically it's true. So, but what jihad means is that you have to fight against non-Muslims. That is what jihad is. Jihad means like anyone that disrespects Islam or disrespects Muhammad, you have a duty and you need to do something about it. You need to kill the apostates. You need to kill the non-Muslims. You need to force non-Muslims to become Muslims. Or not, you have to charge the jizya. And like, as I said, if
you and I are enemies of Islam, you're telling me?
Yeah.
You and I, if we would be in a Muslim country right now, in a Muslim-dominated country right now, we would have had a target on our backs.
If we said the stuff that we said, yes. If yes, for sure, 100%. If I was in Iran, I'll be dead right now. After all the stuff I said about Islam and Islamic Republic. Even in Dubai,
Even in Dubai.
I think so. Like, to be honest with you, like, I'm not sure if I will say the stuff that I'm saying now in Dubai. Because, even though they're a democracy, you never know. Because they have laws against speaking on Islam or also all religions. So, for sure. If 100% believe that if you was in a Islamic dominated country and you spoke against Islam the way me and you did, you would have a target on your back. Don't doubt that for a second.
You don't have that in Christian countries and you don't have that in Jewish countries. A Jewish country, you can criticize Judaism as much as you want. Nobody's going to kill you or attempt to kill you.
Exactly. So
continue.
Make of that what you will. But isn't it ironic that 85% of all migration is happening from Islamic countries to non-Islamic countries, but then once they come here, they want to impose Sharia law. Like you escaped Sharia law, you came to a better environment. Now you want to turn this society into the hellhole you came from. Like, make that make sense.
That is the principle of Hijrah, if you don't know. Hijrah is the migration of Muhammad from Mecca to Medina. When Muhammad lived in Medina, he tried to convert many, many people. He was able to convert, I believe, 150 people in 10 years.
Yeah.
When he moved to Medina and he became a lot more violent, that's when Islam actually took a serious surge, and he was able to convert 10,000 people in, I believe, in 10 years. The same principle exists now. Yep. When you see Muslims migrating from Muslim countries right now to the UK, to France, to Canada, and you see these Muslim structures, Islamic structures being built and having close communities, all of it is a part of the Islamic idea to spread Islam as much as you can, as far as you can. It's interesting, but it's also quite obvious. It's done for a reason.
Yeah, but then again, it goes back to what I said. It's a responsibility of all Muslims to Islamize the whole world. That is like a line in the Quran. And when Islamic scholars say, oh no, it actually says you have to respect the law of the land. It does not say that. Go and find that verse.
It doesn't say that.
It does not say you have to respect the law of the land. It says it's a responsibility of all Muslims to Islamize the whole world. That's what it says. Go and look it up. Okay? So I think there's a lot of imams that try to whitewash. And, we was in a Tommy Robinson rally, right? And Sadiq Khan came out. I don't know if you saw the letter of Sadiq Khan, the Muslim mayor of London. He wrote a letter and he was talking about how, there were Islamophobic people and they're seeking to divide us and this and that. But ironically, it's him that seeks to divide. Because every single time you criticize him, he hides behind the Islamophobia label. Oh, you criticize me on why London has gone downhill. You're Islamophobic. You said something bad about me. Oh, you're Islamophobic. The people that play identity politics are the most racist themselves. Okay? Always remember that. Anyone that plays identity politics or hides behind the Islamophobia, racist, xenophobic, Islamophobic, they are the ones that are actually the most racist themselves because they see everything through the prism of race. So by definition, if you see everything through the prism of race, you're the most racist person. I don't see race. Yeah? I don't see color. I see culture.
100%.
So I think the best cultures and the best ideas should win. That's why we have to reform our ideas around the best ideas. And jihad and Sharia law and wokeism and toxic feminism and the environmental hoax, these are bad ideas.
Since you started doing what you're doing now, have you had any threats, death threats? People caught you down the street telling you exactly what they think. Has it happened?
No, that hasn't happened. Luckily, no one has caught me down the street saying anything bad to me. Luckily,
Interesting.
I get approached all the time, actually, maybe 5 to 10 times a week by random people on the street, and they say how much they love what I do.
That's the best.
Exactly. And but no, luckily I haven't. But then sometimes I get some dirty looks from some people, and I'm like, does this guy know me? So no, I haven't. Luckily, I haven't had that. But then obviously you have to be careful, especially what happened to Charlie Kirk, and But I get like messages, DMs all the time, and I used to in the beginning when I started. Now I think over time, people have filtered themselves out. So 99.9% of the messages and the comments I get are very positive.
Very good.
But yeah, every now and again you get messages like that. Like a few days ago, someone messaged me saying, "I hope you get Charlie Kirked."
I also got many of those messages after what happened to him. It's terrible
like,
that you can express your ideas freely. As a migrant to this country and a good friend of Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
Tell me how that works. A person who wants to make Britain great again, being friends. By the way, I completely agree with him. I do think that every person that comes to this country should be legal, should contribute to society, which you've done a lot, and I think it's incredible. Explain to me that friendship. A person who believes in Britain first, being friends with an Iranian.
Well, I think Tommy Robinson is misunderstood. I think a lot of the things that he says, people like Douglas Murray say the same thing.
100%.
People like Jordan Peterson say the same thing. People like Ben Shapiro probably say the same thing. People like Patrick Bet-David probably say the same thing. Even Joe Rogan, to some extent, says the same things. But I think he's persecuted because of the way he says things. And maybe he's an easy target because he's a working class lad. So it's very easy to point fingers at him and say, oh, look, he's a far-right extremist. Right? And look, I don't agree with everything that he says. I don't agree with 100% of everything that he says. But I don't agree with anyone 100%. If you want to agree with someone 100%, you need to speak in the mirror. Sit in front of a mirror.
You have no backbone.
Exactly. So, I either agree with you 99% or 98% or 50% or 30% or none at all, right? And majority of the stuff he says, I agree with him. And that's a good start. I think my take on immigration, and I think what Tommy Robinson wants, is that you cannot have open borders. You cannot have illegal migrants. But if you're legal, and if you are contributing, and if you are making the overall societal level and culture higher, then you're welcome. And I think, look, if I was the president of Iran, I would have the same exact policy. I would like, look, you can't come to my country unless you're bringing investments, unless you have a special skill that we need, and you're going to contribute. Like, I'm not going to take any asylum seekers. I'm not going to take any illegals, and I'll protect Persian values and culture. I think that is the right of every single country in the world. Okay, you chose to go to that country, so you have to respect the law of the land. Now, I'm not saying everything in Britain or everything that Tommy Robinson is saying is correct or that British culture is perfect. But let's be real, Western culture and Western ideas are better than Eastern ideas. And that's why we have a migration from East to West. If it wasn't, people would be going the other way.
100%.
And look, they say everything comes in full circle. With what is happening in Europe now, Europe might go down in the next 10, 20, 30 years, and you never know. Iran would be free, Dubai would be amazing, Saudi, everyone might be moving there. It's already happening, like a lot of people are moving to Dubai. So you never know.
What in your opinion must happen for the immigration situation in the UK to improve? What do you think needs to happen immediately? Let's assume you're the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom right now. You are the leader. What's the first thing you would do in order to improve the situation here?
Well, many different things. First of all, I think Keir Starmer is an absolute idiot. Like, I can't choose any other words for him. He's a moron. He's a puppet. He doesn't understand anything. He doesn't have any backbone.
I want reasoning. Why are you calling him these
okay,
these
so
terms?
I'll explain. So first of all, he has basically allowed hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of illegal immigrants into the UK. Okay? And so did the other government. And why do we have that? It's because a bunch of people are coming through the canals. Not the canal, sorry, the ports between France and UK. He's raised the taxes in this country to the point it's unbearable. It doesn't really make sense to have a business in this country anymore because the government taxes the hell out of you. So everyone's taking their investment, taking the money and going to Miami or to Dubai or somewhere else. And what he's done, he's pandered to the Islamists. He's pandered to the woke mind virus people. So, and he's stopped free speech. And these three things, and the things that I mentioned earlier, are a recipe for disaster. You have open borders. You have people that are Islamist coming into your country. You pander to wokes, and you charge people high taxes, and you just have no leadership skills. So, like, exactly what happened with Biden. What happened in America during Biden is exactly what's happening in the UK now. So, if rich people are leaving your country, that is always a bad sign. If rich people are coming to your country, that is a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
But if rich people are leaving your country is on the way down. And free speech is the most important thing we can battle. I think that's the most important thing he's trying to take away in this country is free speech. And this idea they try to gaslight the other side. You're far right.
That creates divide. But how has he restricted free speech? Can you give me examples?
Well, he's arrested 12,000 people for their speech online.
For criticizing the grooming gang, stuff like that?
Yeah, stuff like that, or Southport. And look, I don't agree with inciting violence. Some of those people were inciting violence, let's be real. But then again, he puts people in jail for a Facebook post, but then he lets like people that are in the grooming gangs get away. So there needs to be consistency here. If you're you can imprison people that are inciting violence, you better give life sentences to those rapists. But he's pandering to the Islamists, to the minorities, to the gays, not the gays, the LGBT crowd. I don't think there's any parallel between gays and LGBTQ. I think LGBTQ, especially the TQIA plus thing, is a mental illness, honestly speaking. I think you're either gay or lesbian. I think anything in between is a bit... Anyway, but I think he's politically correct. He doesn't have a backbone. I think politicians or leaders that don't actually believe in anything. He's just a puppet. I think he's a WEF puppet. He's a globalist puppet. They tell him what to do and he does. He doesn't have any charisma. I think every single line that he says is like a scripted line. And you can tell by the way he talks. Like every time he talks, it's as if he's reading off a teleprompter, even though when there's no teleprompter in front of him. And that's why he always messes up the words, because he's probably rehearsed it many times. So when he gets in front of the camera, he gets nervous, and then he just kind of twists his own words. And yeah, it's just, I don't even know how he became prime minister, honestly.
Do you think these actions are taken because he does not want to appear as a failure with the immigration, with the mass immigration?
No, he's already a failure.
No, the reason why he's trying to restrict free speech against specific topics, or not talk about specific things, or try to shut off the Tommy Robinson event, just like he tried to do this past Saturday. Do you think these things are happening because he's trying to cover up the mistakes of the Labour Party?
Maybe. I say there's no government in history that has restricted freedom of speech that was actually the good guy. If you look throughout history, all the governments that have restricted freedom of speech, they were the bad guys. And maybe part of the reason is they try to restrict their own failures. They don't want their own failures to be spread and to be talked about. So it's completely plausible, for sure. I just think he's incompetent. At his core, he's incompetent. He is a follower, not a leader. And somehow he's found himself in a position of power because, he kind of worked up the ranks and he was a yes man. And people, if you want to go far in the corporate or in the political world, especially through the established route, you have to be a yes man. Mm-hmm. So I just think he is... and look, the stats don't lie. The crime is up in London, hugely, especially compared to 10 years ago. You can't walk down the street with your phone in your hand. Many areas, people come and get it on the bike. There's a lot of stabbings happening all the time. As I said, there's a living crisis. The taxes are too high. So, people are struggling in the UK. People don't have money in the UK like they did. Yeah, we earn pounds, but the amount of tax we pay, the amount of bill we pay for the energy, and also his energy policy is a failure as well. He's trying to go all green, and because of that, the energy prices have spiked, got double and triple. Not just 10-20%, they doubled and tripled.
Wow.
So imagine, you want to own a house, people can't own a house anymore. You can't work a normal job and own a house. You have to work for 50, 60 years and don't spend a thing, and maybe you can own a house. So I just think it's we need free markets in this society. We need free speech in this society, and freedom.
I agree.
So,
have you been to Israel?
No, but hopefully I'll be there towards the end of October, early November.
For the Cyrus Accords?
the Cyrus Accord things, and also through this other company that I've worked with before called Rova Media. Nothing's confirmed yet.
Rova Media is amazing. It's by Nate Buzz, if you don't know. Incredible person.
Yeah.
What got you on the side of Israel, other than the stuff that you told me? What got you on the side of Israel, your support, your public support? I've seen some of your videos. They're incredible. What's the main thing that got you connected to the Israeli cause? And also, is it connected to the Iranians' cause? Do you feel like it's connected to...
Yeah, well, I think it is. I think when I started making videos, especially the ones of me criticizing Islam, I was met with a lot of Israeli support, a lot of Jewish support. And I just started making videos, and I realized with time that actually my political views align a lot with the Israelis. And especially what happened with the 12-day war, I was supporting Israel all the way. Like, I was cheering them on to hit the nuclear sites, to hit the military sites. I was cheering Trump to do it. So, and because of that, I think I've got a good... I think maybe 40-50% of my followers might be Israeli, actually, or Jewish. Because, you know, I never actually intended to do this, but I think naturally what happened is, you know, I attracted a lot of Jews and Israelis to me. And before that, I was also friends with a lot of Jews and Israelis. So
you had friends that were Jewish before?
Yeah. For many years, for like 10 years. So,
wow.
Yes, I had a lot of Jewish friends. But that didn't sort of influence me to say anything that I said. I was just speaking the truth, and as a consequence of speaking the truth, I attracted a certain group of people.
Give me your best argument against pro-Palestinians claiming Israel has no right to exist.
Well, first of all, as I said, you're a colonial entity. Your name is a colonial entity. There's no such thing as Palestine. There was never such thing as Palestine. And go and find me a map of Palestine, okay, that in history that existed. What you point to is when Romans conquered Israel, and they call it Palestine to humiliate the Jews. So Palestine is the original name that was given to them by Romans, and it was a colonial name. Then after, that colonial name was adapted by the British, which called the British Mandate for Palestine.
Correct.
And that actually referred to the Jewish people that lived in the land. And, you know, there's pictures of planes with the Star of David and the name Palestine written next to it. So Palestine was the name that was given to Israel. So Palestine never existed. And basically the invention of Palestine was in the 1960s with Arafat and a fake flag, which is the flag of Arab unity, actually. It's not a flag of Palestine, it's a flag of Arab unity. And the keffiyeh, which again is not a Palestinian symbol, it's an Iraqi symbol. So they've put all of that, and basically what they done was, because they wanted to get rid of Israel, they created this whole fake identity that is called Palestine. And they sacrificed their own people, because every single person that dies in Palestine, people in Islamic Republic are celebrating. Because every single person that dies in Palestine, their argument becomes stronger. So they can always point to their fingers to the Zionist regime and say, oh, you see, they're murdering children. When it's them that put those children in harm's way in the first place. When it's them that takes human hostages. When it's them that uses human shields. So, you know, Mustapha Hassan Youssef said this the best. Being pro-Palestine is a mental health illness. You know, just like wokeism is. And that's why I always put them in the same branch. You know, I think one of the sub-branches of being a woke guy or woke girl is to be pro-Palestine. You know, you never see a woke person being pro-Israel. You know, so if you look at history, if you read history, you would understand that it's completely... And as I said, you know, during the war, when it happened in, I think it was 1948, if Israel lost that war, there would have been no such thing as Palestine. It would have been maybe quarter Egypt, quarter Jordan, quarter Syria, and a quarter Lebanon.
100%.
That's what it would have been. There would have been no Palestine at any point. So educate yourself. That's all I've got to say. If you educate yourself, it's actually not that difficult.
Free Palestine, if you don't know, was actually a term that the Jews used in when they lived under the British Mandate of Palestine. They wanted to get the British colonial power to leave. So they said, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free from the Brits. The Jews were the ones who started it, not you.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Younes, I think you've been great.
Thank you.
I think you're awesome. I'm getting very hot with the air conditioning. I'm assuming you get very hot as well. Plug your channel name again, and also he's opening a YouTube channel. We're gonna attach it. Make sure to open it before.
Sure. No, it's already open actually.
I've
already got like 10,000 subscribers.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've been posting on it for a while, but I haven't been taking it seriously. But now I'm going to do a lot more long format content, just like yours. So it's Younes Rocks, YOUNESSROCKS. My name is Younes Sadaghiani. I'm called the same on all platforms. So Younes Rocks on Instagram, Younes Rocks on X. I had a TikTok platform. This is good for you to know. I had TikTok with 31,000 followers, and it got banned because I was making anti-Israeli posts. Can you imagine? Anti-Palestine.
Oh my God, guys! I have a fraud here.
No, it got banned like 3-4 days ago.
It's fully banned.
Fully banned. I've appealed it.
Because of what video? What did you
Because
make?
I made a video about the recent attacks of Israel on Qatar. Yeah. And after that, because I already had a few ban warnings because of some of the videos, and all of them were to do with Israel-Palestine for some reason. And they were like, "Oh, you're inciting violence or something like that. You're like doing like hateful groups. You know, they have these things on the community guidelines. Nonsense." So I was thinking, like, people that are on TikTok, they can say river to the sea, and they can say globalized Antifada, and Netanyahu is a Nazi, and kill the Jews, eradicate Israel.
That's perfectly fine.
That's perfectly fine. But if you call Hamas a terrorist organization, your account gets banned. So unfortunately, my TikTok is gone, but good riddance, because I was so sick and tired of always getting these like account ban warnings because of me talking facts. But I'm on X, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm also on Facebook. So
beautiful. This guy, I'm foreseeing a great future from. I think he's insane. Very good guy. Look him up on YouTube and see his other podcasts, because I've seen a few. He has one with Liam Tufts.
Yeah, Liam Tufts, yeah.
Beautiful. And Liam Tufts is also a good person to follow. So thank you so much for being here.
Cheers, man.
And hopefully we can do some more things together.
Definitely, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Cheers.
If you'd like to watch more of my stuff, please check out my channel down below. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification button so you can be notified every time I upload new content. If you'd like to support me and the channel financially, you can do that using Buy Me Coffee or Patreon down in the links below. Also, we now have a Discord that you can join down in the link below. And now you can become a YouTube member and enjoy specific YouTube perks. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.